Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Wahoos Weekly, your weekly in-depth look at the Pensacola Blue Wahoos on the field and off. I'm Erik Bremer.
I'm Charlie Hobert.
This week, the Wahoos are at home for their first 6-game homestand of the season as they take on the Knoxville Smokies. And Charlie, after that wild commotion of opening weekend and the first road trip, we're finally settling into the rhythm of a minor league baseball season.
Absolutely. The first couple weeks are always difficult, especially when you go 3 games at home. Then you immediately got to pack your stuff up, head on the road for a full week. It's a little exhausting. Starting a season to begin with is exhausting. Then you got to get on the road. It's nice to be back. They're settled in. They know all their teammates' names if they didn't know them before. And the Wahoos are finally ready to just get into a groove.
Do you know all their names? That's the most important question.
We'll talk about that later, Erik.
Well, this week, the Knoxville Smokies are in town, AA affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. We'll talk a little bit about Knoxville and Chicago, as well as the Blue Wahoos, because we've also got a special guest, Blue Wahoos owner Quint Studer, joining us here in a few minutes. First, Charlie, let's talk about the Knoxville Smokies. They used to be the Tennessee Smokies, and the Wahoos had quite a battle with them over the course of a couple seasons. They beat the Tennessee Smokies in a dramatic Southern League Championship Series back in 2022. Then the Smokies exacted some revenge. They were able to celebrate a championship here at Blue Wahoos Stadium the very next year. Year in and year out, it seems like the Cubs are providing very talented minor leaguers for all their affiliates. Since they moved downtown to Knoxville, it's been more of the same, really. Just year in and year out, the Cubs have really quality minor leaguers.
Absolutely. I think, these two teams, they do have a bit of a history. They're both looking for revenge this year. Not really on each other, though, just in general. Both these teams missed out on the playoffs last year. Obviously not what they're looking for. So when these two clash this weekend, it's not only going to be the history between each other, but looking to get back on track as an organization. And as you said, yes, the Cubs, they do provide their teams with organizational depth up and down the lineup. Christian Hernandez, one of those guys, a new Pensacola Blue Wahoo coming over in the Edward Cabrera trade.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably going to be playing for the Knoxville Smokies if he hadn't been traded to the Marlins organization in the offseason. Another former Tennessee Smoky, Owen Casey, is now contributing at the big league level for the Miami Marlins. He had plenty of good games against the Blue Wahoos back in the day. Last year was kind of a honeymoon season for the Knoxville Smokies. After playing for several decades out in the suburbs, out in Kodak, Tennessee, they moved down to downtown Knoxville in beautiful new Covenant Health Park. Blue Wahoos will be making their trip out to Knoxville here later this year. But after that first season, you always wonder, okay, what's the status quo going to be? The Blue Wahoos have been able to extend that honeymoon period well into the second decade by keeping the fans engaged. But we'll have to find out what Knoxville does to support their baseball team now that the shine has worn off on that new stadium just a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, the shine's only going to be there as long as you want it to be there, as demonstrated here in Pensacola. The Blue Wahoos do such a good job of staying in the community, staying active, keeping the ballpark looking beautiful and nice, and obviously the view here. I mean, on the water, you absolutely can't beat it. So for the Knoxville Smokies, it's really going to be up to them. How bad do they want to stay brand new, And moving to a new city is always going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting, you would hope, for a couple years. You spend a couple years in Tennessee, you have a good time there. Move it down to Knoxville, you're still making yourself at home. So I think it's really up to them at this point, Erik.
I can only speak to my own experience. I was blown away by Covenant Health Park when we made our first trip there last year. For one, they've got an omelet bar for the press box on Sundays. That's something that I've been trying to integrate into the Blue Wahoos Stadium mix, but so far unsuccessful on that front. We're also going to be helping to open up a brand new ballpark in Chattanooga just a couple hours from Knoxville here in 2026. So some new ballparks joining the older ballparks here in the Southern League this year. Talking about the Chicago Cubs, a team that year in and year out has a lot of attention on them because of their widespread fan base, including several fans probably watching this down in Pensacola. But the Chicago Cubs are in a division with the Milwaukee Brewers, who, despite having fewer resources, have had the upper hand in recent years. How do the Chicago Cubs get back to the playoffs, get back to the World Series, and win a World Series? Because they are known for having long World Series droughts.
Well, they certainly are. In my mind, it's focusing on baseball. The sport has moved very heavily towards analytics, and I think a lot of good has come from that, You need a mix of both. And manager Craig Counsell, longtime manager of the Brewers, he loves the analytics. I think he could stand to work a little bit more with his gut, with his baseball heart, and with his baseball mind. He's a student of the game. He grew up, his dad was always involved with the sport. He played many seasons as a Major League Baseball player. He won a couple World Series rings. He knows baseball inside and out, and I think he's gotten used to leaning on the stat book a little bit too much. So I think if he wants to get his players in on that, he's got to buy in a little bit more to what they're doing, just as much as they've bought in to what he's doing.
A hot take from Charlie Hobert, Craig. It was not me who said that. It was Charlie. A new addition in the offseason, a former Blue Wahoo, Edward Cabrera, joining the Cubs and making an immediate impact with an outstanding debut performance. Now, the Marlins might in the long run end up winning that trade, but I think if you ask a Cubs fan, if they get to the playoffs and make a run in year one with Edward Cabrera, they'll find that trade well worth it.
I mean, absolutely, and they have a nice young pitching staff. Cade Horton up there as well, Justin Steele, when those two are healthy. They are among the best in baseball, and now you add a young fireball throwing Edward Cabrera up there. They have a scary rotation, absolutely. Now, if you're the Marlins, I'm not too upset after this opening weekend they just had. Sweeping their first series of the year, Owen Casey coming over from the Cubs and making an immediate impact. So yes, on the stat sheet, and when you look down the future where the organization is, the Cubs are going to be celebrating possibly more in this coming season or two, but the Marlins, a lot to look forward to with Casey and eventually Christian Hernandez.
Perhaps the best player on the Chicago Cubs, and certainly the most dynamic personality, is a guy that we saw play for the Smokies here on his way up through the Southern League, Pete Crow Armstrong. Now, representing the redhead community, I feel you probably are more qualified than most to speak on Pete Crow Armstrong and what he can mean to the game of baseball, because he's got a lot of haters and he's got a lot of fans, but people are certainly paying attention.
Well, ever since he dyed his hair, I no longer claim PCA, but as a baseball player, you got to tip your cap no matter what color your hair is. He hits for power. He can run. He's had a bit of fielding woes, but we all know where the ceiling is for Pete Crow Armstrong. His floor is a lot higher than a lot of players' ceilings. So PCA's got super bright future. He played a great World Baseball Classic this offseason. He's going to be an all-star. He's an impact player, especially personality-wise, as you mentioned. He brings a lot of fire. Maybe sometimes a little too much with this little young player. Got to learn to rein it in a little bit. But if I'm a major league organization, I want PCA on my team.
Opening weekend a couple weeks ago was such a wild time. It always is. Opening weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's just a complete marathon. It was also Easter weekend here at Blue Wahoos Stadium with a whole lot of other things going on. This week, a full 6-game home series allowed us to settle in a bit and also debut some new on-field looks. On Wednesday, the debut of the Pensacola Sky Jockeys, and we've got intern Kendall here to show off this look. Pensacola Sky Jockeys, a tribute to the Blue Angels. It's got the Blue Angels livery, and look at that logo on the hat. Charlie, what do you think of this new Sky Jockeys look that we'll be wearing every Wednesday home game?
The color palette is absolutely phenomenal. The font they chose is excellent. I love the two stripes coming down the front. You got on the side here. The back is going to look great when the players actually get their numbers and names in there. But all in all, I mean, excellent work by the merch department.
My contribution is not necessarily the logo, though I did suggest that we put the bats on the wings. I came up with the nickname for that logo, Bat Albert, like Fat Albert, the support aircraft with the Blue Angels. I'm trying to make that stick, so if you want to tell your friends that logo is called Bat Albert, please credit me. One of the things that I like about this is we gave this look out before the holidays last year. We announced it in November, and I know a lot of our players were able to get the accessories to match. So hopefully we'll see some Blue Wahoos players with their shin guards and their chest protectors to match the blue and yellow of the Sky Jockeys. Hey, Kendall, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kendall.
All right, now we've got a new Mullet Thursday look. Mullet Thursdays has been an annual tradition here at Blue Wahoos Stadium since 2022. The Pensacola Mullets were a close runner-up in the Name the Team contest back in 2012, but we decided we could have it both ways. So every Thursday home game were the Pensacola Mullets. Business on the field, party in the stands, and this is the wildest jersey that we have ever had for the Pensacola Mullets. It's taken some different shapes over the years, but our intern Quinn is showing off the front and the back. Charlie, this is minor league baseball in full form,
There's
right?
there's a lot going on here. There's a lot to look at. If I'm a batter, I mean, we're not even talking strategy. If I'm a hitter, this is the last jersey I want to see while someone's throwing 95 miles an hour at me. So I think this might pay off in more ways than one. Obviously, you have the logo here with the crazy-looking hair. You got the sunglasses matching up top with the hat, and then on the back, Quinn, as we just showed, you do have the mullet coming down. So whether or not you actually have a mullet, you will appear to have one in such garb.
It's kind of a Saved by the Bell look, and we're really trying to capitalize on the 90s kids who we know have so much disposable income these days. So thank you, Quinn. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be wearing the Pensacola Sky Jockeys every Wednesday home game, Pensacola Mullets every Thursday home game, as well as the Pensacola Poke-to-Poke and Pensacola Seagulls for limited engagements as we engage with our Latino and African American community. Charlie, before we send things on to our next guest, Quint Studer, the owner of the Blue Wahoos, I want to talk about tonight's giveaway. It is a Pink's Window Services kazoo window cleaning bobblehead. I know, right? It's going to go fast, and by the time you watch this, folks, they're already going to be handed out. But of all the things that you thought you might display on your desk, a Blue Wahoos minor league mascot holding a window squeegee has to be at the top of the list.
I
right?
mean, it was certainly up there. I knew I was going to get something with kazoo in it, and I was just, hoping every night, please be washing a window. So now I don't have to worry. I can sleep easy. I got kazoo washing a window. I can show it to everybody I know. And, I'm happy he's finding different ways to supplement his own income.
Well, it's the other duties as assigned that we include in every job application. Kazoo is wearing a pink jersey for this Pink's window cleaning bobblehead, and that will be very popular to our fans here at the game tonight. Also very popular, I'm sure, on eBay in the resale market. When we come back, we're going to talk with the Blue Wahoos owner, Quint Studer, about the Blue Wahoos and how far we've come since this ballpark was built in 2012. That's up next on Wahoos Weekly.
You finally found the perfect car in Racing Blue. You even got them to throw in the LED fog lights for free. Auto Owners insures your car because some people never learn to parallel park. That's simple human sense.
Ask the Messick Insurance Agency in Pensacola if auto owners make sense for you.
Keep going. More. No, stop!
Gilmarine, your one-stop shop for all your boating needs. We offer a vast selection of parts, accessories, and electronics. Discover our range of used boats in every size, shape, and brand, all ready to get you on the water today. And we provide expert advice and top-notch customer service to ensure you have the best boating experience. We service all outboard, inboards, stern drives, jet drives, and personal watercraft. Our certified staff will get you back on the water. Visit Gilmarine at 3541 West Fairfield Drive, Pensacola.
Our spring-loaded sips have officially landed at PJ's Coffee Pensacola, and they're bringing all the spring energy with them. Stop in for a drink at PJ's Coffee Pensacola, 85 West Airport Boulevard.
Get a fresh cut and a fresh start at AHW Barber Academy. We focus on growth. Join us at 3822 North 9th Avenue, Pensacola, for a top-notch $6 haircut while supporting aspiring barbers. Our students learn in a real-world setting, guided by experienced professionals to become licensed barbers. Need a cut or a new career? Visit AHW Barber Academy or call 850-692-9298.
Empire Truck Sales, located at 2255 West Detroit Boulevard in Pensacola, is your Freightliner, Western Star, Detroit Diesel, and Cummins dealer for Northwest Florida. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., providing sales, service, and parts. Empire Truck Sales is also your Oasis dealer for Freightliner custom chassis RV and motorhome repairs. Running I-10 will get you in.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Wahoos Weekly. I'm broadcaster Erik Bremer, and I'm joined today by the Blue Wahoos principal owner, Quint Studer. Quint, welcome back to Blue Wahoos Stadium. I know you've put a lot into this ballpark over the years, and it looks as good as ever, doesn't it?
For the second oldest stadium in the Southern League now. Can you believe it? In 2012, we were the newest stadium in the Southern League, and now we're the second oldest. So, like anything, and especially in the saltwater, it takes a lot of upkeep, but I think we have a really great staff, and we do fund this quite heavily to make sure it does stay nice.
Well, that's a good place to begin because we did make a lot of off-season upgrades here to Blue Wahoos Stadium. Some we wanted to do, some we had to do to remain affiliated in minor league baseball. Let's talk first about the big one, the big investment in the batting cage, something that we had to do down the first base line. What went into that process, and what do you think it looks like so far?
Well, what happened is Major League Baseball, we're a franchise. We're like any restaurant that has a franchise. When you have a franchise, you sign an agreement that says you're going to follow certain stipulations. And when Major League Baseball took over minor league baseball about 5 years ago, one of the reasons they took it over was because of facilities, because they felt their players weren't having the best locker rooms, the best batting cages, the best turf, the best lights. So they wrote something called the PDL, which is a license agreement. And in order to have an affiliated team, you've got to hit certain standards. And they get points. And we one year had 80 points. And you lose your team if you have 10 or more. So we're at risk every year of possibly losing a team if we don't keep it up. And there's many cities that would love an affiliated team. So the big one is they want 2 batting cages, and they want them on the same side. So we're lucky here. Not every stadium's lucky. They've actually built whole new stadiums because of the license agreement. But here we had this parcel sort of over by the right field line that was empty. So we put in really 3 batting cages, not 2, with some locker rooms. And hopefully the players and the coaches will we want to have them feel it's a special place, and we want the Marlins to know that we support them.
Moving from the things that we had to do to the things that we chose to do, one of the big things that we talk about in this organization is touch points, ways that a customer interacts with the product or experience. And one of the most important touch points is that first interaction inside the ballpark. We've made upgrades both to the lobby in the front office and to the main gate with some brand new artwork. How important is that to you to make sure that fans get a strong first impression when they enter this stadium?
Well, the best first impression they get here is we have an unbelievable staff that greets them before they ever walk in the door. But it's like any business. You walk in, you're going to have that first impression. Is it clean? Is it professional? I don't know about you, but when I go to a place that looks old, not kept, I'm thinking, do I want to eat there? Do I want to have a blood draw done there? Those types of things. So we really look at touch points. So we've really created, through your work actually, Erik, with Hatchmark Studio, some new artwork. Whether you come through the group entryway, whether you come through the front gate, and even outside you see Wahoo Life. And I think we just want to make it a spectacular place. So we really wanted to just have it, pop out and wow. And you've done a great job, and thank you for leading that.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing that's always I haven't liked is ticket windows. Because first of all, I'm hearing impaired. So anyone that's hearing impaired has a very difficult time in a ticket window, because even though you have a microphone by the ticket person, you're hearing through an intercom system. Number 2, we have people of all ages. Some of them my age, which is old. So it means it's have a rough time hearing at times.
Elderly, rather.
Elderly.
Yes.
And then we have people standing. We have sun. We have rain. So when I go into a hotel, they don't make me check in outside. They bring me in. The nicer the hotel, the nicer it is to come in. Some of you even have places you can sit. So we really blew out the lobby, because I don't want our people. I understand for a certain game day you might need to run to the ticket booth because of the long lines. But in general, we want when our people come to the front office to feel like they're coming into a 5-star hotel, that they can sit down, they can enjoy it. They can get their picture taken with a locker right there. So I'm really, really excited about the lobby.
Another thing that fans will notice is out in right field, we've expanded the Coors Light cold zone. Groups are kind of the lifeblood of any successful minor league organization, and we do a great job with groups. We have a lot of different areas throughout this ballpark that are frequently booked up. That was always a very high demand one, and we've created some more space to accommodate even more fans.
Yeah, well, that was when Mike Fitzpatrick was here working in facilities. He kept looking and saying that should be a party deck. It was a grassy area, but it was sort of on an angle. And I'm worried about that angle, because once again, I don't want people to trip, people to fall. And it's okay for kids to run up and down the berm, but many times kids have parents and grandparents with them. And that was a tough area. So I thought we not only made it really from a safety perspective. We always want to put safety first. So having that area now is going to be a lot of fun. They're good. So we actually created a more enjoyable experience, but also a much safer experience for our fans.
There's a lot out there about the long journey to get this ballpark built. There have literally been books written about it. But now we have this ballpark constructed in 2012, well into its second decade. The dream, though, Quint, was for this to anchor some other things going on around the stadium. That has taken shape in downtown. This ballpark bears a lot of responsibility for the revitalization of downtown. But now, finally, in the next couple of years, we'll see some of the parcels directly adjacent to Blue Wahoos Stadium start to spring up. And I know that's something that you've been an advocate for a long time.
Well, until it happens, I wouldn't count on it, because you never know. Development's really hard. Development needs to have the right product, the right pricing, the right capitalization, especially if, we've been really lucky. I would go to what we've done here, Rishi and I, at one time over 500,000 square feet of property we either renovated or built, or just want to be sort of make it happen. So when I bought ECUA lot, which I was terrified what's going to go there, because it was actually zoned commercial. So we bought it, not because we wanted to do something on there, but we wanted to have something happen that was really cool. So right now, another company out of Birmingham called Crest is building 254 apartments there, which we also were very involved in Bruce Beach. Rishi and I paid for the planning of Bruce Beach. If you haven't been there, it's marvelous. And then sometime during the season, you'll see the second half of the parcels go up. So 2-3 years from now, when that's all done, you'll have 1,000 people living there, coming here, which will, again, encourage people to possibly do something on the parcels. But we always have to look wider. And is it walkable? We got hotels. So, yeah, in fact, if you go on to AI and you hit Pensacola, they will say that this is probably one of the most successful examples of a stadium being an economic engine for a community. Because I think we did it right, and we didn't overbuild the stadium either.
You did it right. You did it here first, and now you're in the process of trying to do that up in Beloit, Wisconsin, which is a region that I know means a lot to you from your upbringing. How would you describe the progress of the Beloit Sky Carp, the high A affiliate of the Miami Marlins, from when you purchased them to where we are now in 2026?
Well, I think we've always been fortunate in Beloit because their communities were farther ahead than Pensacola. While we wanted this to be the beginning of a revitalization, the stadium is just part of the revitalization. They've already had a great downtown because Diane Hendricks, wonderful lady, lives in Beloit, entrepreneur, philanthropist, just does great things. She wanted to have a great downtown. So they've done a lot of things, but it didn't have what we call an anchor on the south side. Gallup says you want something downtown that brings a lot of people down on a regular basis. They didn't have that. So when I talked to Diane before she agreed to build a stadium privately, because she cares about her town so much, I said, this could be a South End anchor. So I think it's really been a nice South End anchor. There's a couple apartment complexes been built by it. They're now building a new river walk down there. So we're just excited to be in Beloit. It's a great town, great people, with great construction company called CCI that we've worked with in Wisconsin. So yeah, we're excited to be in Beloit.
We're talking here in April, and in the next couple months, we'll see a very different looking Palafox Street down in downtown Pensacola. I know you were a big advocate for making those necessary changes and upgrades to the main drag in downtown. What is that going to be like, and how is that going to change downtown for the better to have a brand new marquee street that everyone can be proud of?
Well, when you look at it, I was a special ed teacher. I was a special ed vocational ed teacher. I taught welding at the high school level. So when you look at that, that meant I worked with a lot of people that have certain challenges. Wheelchairs, for example. We always had kids in my class that were in chairs. Here, we've always made this a very ADA, American Disabilities Act accessibility. Our downtown is not. When Tommy Leiter, now he's at the county, wife, Brenda, who was had a Wahoo tattoo, was dying. She wanted to go in a wheelchair to go downtown, and Tommy couldn't take her downtown because we're not ADA accessible. So my number one goal, and I'm sure Mayor Reeves' number one goal downtown, was to make it handicap accessible. How can you it's like having your press box without an elevator and not wanting to fix it because you don't want to put in an elevator. Then, of course, the stormwater issue. And the other issue that I think merchants had to get to, they put tables out. But those tables were sometimes picnic tables, and they were big, and they blocked people walking. So to me, we either had to decide no more outdoor seating because it's not, you can't get wheelchairs through, or you have to expand the sidewalks. So what you're seeing now is an expansion of the sidewalks, a fixing of the stormwater. You're seeing ADA being resolved. It's sort of like, I always wonder, who can be against this? Like with this stadium, we took $18 million of toxic soil out. And I tell people, 8,000 people voted to keep toxic soil downtown. So to me, yeah, it's painful, but I think now as people see it, because you can't have a downtown that's built for cars. It's supposed to be built for people. And you live at Southtown, and you walk, and I think it's going to be real exciting, actually. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great for people in wheelchairs and great for people that would love to be downtown, but because of their walkability have not been able to be downtown.
We're going to be heading to Blue Wahoos baseball live on Blab TV in just a couple minutes, and we've talked about just about everything except for baseball. And I know that's kind of the way you like it, because this is more than just a baseball team, it's a community organization. But you are a baseball fan. You wouldn't be in this business if you weren't. How rewarding has it been to see our former Blue Wahoos move on to the big leagues? I know we've got regular texts going about one of our former Wahoos does something good in the bigs.
Yeah, well, we're lucky. Just like when we had the Pelicans, I stayed close to people. To have Carlos Mendoza and Joe Espada in here this year. So there are certain players that you connect with, but I try not to bug them. I don't go into the locker room. It just sort of happens. So it's really exciting, because you know how hard they work. And it's also exciting, sometimes you help a player that's no longer playing in the major leagues. So we've done that, or didn't make it. So Kyle Waldrop was in town not too long ago, because he sells turf now. So I think you want to our whole goal is to optimize people's talent. Sometimes it's on the field, sometimes it's not. But it's exciting. The player you're talking about is Troy Johnson, who was with the Marlins and then got picked up by the Colorado Rockies. And, we don't know when this is taped how he'll be doing, because you can go up and down, up and down. But gosh, he's 28, he's worked so hard. To see him get a chance in the majors last year with the Marlins, and credit to the Marlins, they showcased him. If they didn't showcase him, Colorado wouldn't have picked him up, and he's off to a great start in Colorado. Some of our other players pitch for the Cardinals. Yeah, I don't care who they pitch for or who they play for. I just like to see their dreams come true.
Our thanks to Quint Studer for joining us here on this episode of Wahoos Weekly. Blue Wahoos Baseball is coming up next on Blab TV.